Oh, hey, everybody. I think we're live. Give me a shout out in the chat if you can hear me. Haven't done this in a few weeks. It's what 3 weeks, 4 weeks? I can't remember. 4 weeks. We've had a lot of things going. I think 1 week I was sick. Technological issues going on. It was 1 week after another. But we are back, and I got a 5x5 in the chat, so we must be doing good. We must be live, I guess, as live can be. How is everyone doing tonight? There we go. A lot of people speaking up. It is cold. Yeah, it is. We've got people from all over Michigan. Let's see. Kentucky. Colder than, fill in the blanks. Yeah, exactly. It's Alabama Gulf Coast. You're probably not as cold as we are here. Alaska is in the house, so Florida's in the house, Pennsylvania, Ontario, Canada. So I would assume you're pretty cold up there. Same way with you from Wisconsin. So it is cold here. It is really cold. -3, says someone. Rivka is doing about the same. She's in the chat tonight, and it comes and goes, but not really a lot of change. Colorado's saying -12. Let's see. It's 13 here right now, and windy and snowing. Louisiana, Alabama, and Texas. A lot of people chiming in. Welcome. It's great to see you all here tonight, especially on this cold night for us and for I know many of you, and it's going to get worse. They are talking tonight, actual temperature somewhere between like -5, -8. And we live down in this little valley, so whatever the official temperature is, we're usually 2 to 3 degrees at least less, and because we also have this spring creek down here, and we're in this little valley, so we're a little chillier here than elsewhere. -42 in Montana this morning. Good gracious. 63 in Central Texas. Sure, rub it in. And it's 63 in Texas. Just that's all right. You can still be here, right? You just can't dig it in too deep. And then tomorrow, the high temperature here tomorrow, I think, is only like 3 degrees. So, yeah, it's going to be cold. We've got more snow coming in tomorrow afternoon. And depending on who you listen to, it's anywhere between 1 inch and 5 inches tomorrow. So we will see. Yeah, someone says, can we all just go to Texas? No kidding. Definitely better there than here when it comes to temperature. Saskatchewan is -55. Whiteout blizzard in South Dakota. This is some serious weather. 50 degrees in Arizona, Pace in Arizona. Well, thanks for letting us know that there's at least some place in North America that's not frigid cold. So, Texas is closed, Paul Thompson says. Yeah, I mean, you guys get plenty every day down there. Plenty every day. I mean, Texas is so popular. I mean, everybody wants to move to Texas, right? Because, I mean, they just have tens of thousands of people a day just poured into Texas. So, it's crazy. Do I have my house in order? Well, yeah, hopefully I do. Yes, we have been. We're not perfect at what we do. We're not perfect at prepping or anything like that. But it is a, and it's not just prepping, because I think a lot of people, they think of prepping, they're like, oh my goodness, you're obsessed with prepping. No, we're obsessed with being self-sufficient. We're obsessed with doing things simply and healthy. That's what we're obsessed with. Things that are not just physically, like, healthy for your body, but healthy for your mind, healthy for your soul. That's what we're focused on. Thank you, Sean. Treats for the dog. Yes, and I need to get him back on. The dog that we picked up, I guess it's been 2 weeks ago, on the road. If you guys were paying attention, old black lab, someone dumped out here in the middle of nowhere, and he was really pitiful looking. The thing could barely walk. He was so emaciated. it was amazing to me and my wife and the vet that the dog was still alive, because he was so skinny and everything. And so we've had him 2 weeks and got him, his nails trimmed and all that kind of stuff, and feeding him good food, and he's putting on weight. I mean, he's still skinny. He's not your typical black lab that's a little overweight. He's still skinny, but you can't really see his ribs anymore. And we've been giving him some good supplements. We have an herbal powder. Don't ask me what's in it right now because I don't remember. But it's just powdered herbs, and then these little chewy treats that we got him that's all natural for joint issues and muscle and pain, that kind of stuff. So we're giving little bit drunk money monkey. No, I didn't murder my wife. She's still around. She's in the chat. But he's doing really good, and I'm not going to get him out to show you guys in the next few days because it's so cold. He still struggles with the cold. You take him out, he doesn't have enough meat on his bones. I mean, he's not emaciated anymore, but he's not, he doesn't have really a lot of fat on him, and so the cold really bothers him, and his teeth will literally chatter. But as soon as it warms up a little bit where he can tolerate it again, we'll take him outside and make a video with him. And he is just, it's amazing with him. When we got him, we think, and the vet thinks, that he may have been a puppy mill breeder dog. That's possibly what we think he was. And so you can tell it wasn't just that he was malnourished and mistreated, neglected. I don't think the dog has ever really been like handled like a dog, like a pet, like pet and shown affection or love, because it wasn't like he didn't like it. It's like it didn't register to him what you were doing when you're petting him. If you pet him, he'd just kind of like, what in the world is this? But that's changing. He'd jump up when he sees you and or hears you, and he wants to pet, and he'll lean into you and lick your hand. And so he's coming out of that. But yeah, the dog he wags his tail. Yeah, he's really he's coming out of that, and he's starting to act like a dog is supposed to act. So it's been a it's been really cool to see that happen. And especially, like I said, when we picked him up on the road, not the side of the road, really, it was in the middle of the road. He could barely walk, he could barely move. His toenails were almost 3 inches long, and so he was kind of like walking on the side of his paws. So yeah, his name is Ralph. I know it's such a boring name, but he's an old man, he's got a gray muzzle and everything. And he's just a Ralph. He's just, kind of like an Eeyore, but he'll perk up. He'll perk up. So, but no, he's doing really good. And, just, expect that he's just going to continue to improve because, the vet looked at him and they don't believe that there's really much wrong with him. He may have some arthritis in his back end, but he can still use it. It was just, he was just super, super neglected, mistreated. But he's a sweet dog. He really is. He's very gentle. He's doing well with, around the other animals. Just super, super sweet dog. So yeah, that's the update on him. I know I kept forgetting the last couple of videos to say anything about him. But yes, we earned our gray. I'm getting there. These lights, sometimes you can't see it, but today I trimmed my beard, and I was like, my goodness, the gray is really starting to come in. I think I've got more gray in the last couple of months in my beard than I have all the other time combined. So I may be getting close to that tipping point where it just starts pouring out the face, and it's all gray. 49 in Tampa. Yeah, Tampa's a beautiful place. I haven't been there in many, many years. My dad was born there. But it's been probably close to 20 years since I've been to Tampa. So I don't know what it's like now, but it was beautiful then. Let's see. Food for thought. Milspec Monkey mentioned that all migrants coming in aren't from places that vaccinate like we do. Uptick in viruses. Yeah, there has been a lot of reports over the last several months of uptick of diseases and stuff. You know, tuberculosis and other things that haven't existed in the United States in a long time, and now they're starting to see it at the border and stuff. So, do you use just for men? No, I use all pretty much nothing. The only thing I use a handmade shampoo bar. That's it. I use a handmade shampoo bar on my hair and beard from graftedandgracecreations.com. If you're in here, if Sarah's in the chat, leave a link. If Sarah's not in the chat, my wife can leave a link. It's friends of ours, and she makes. I mean, I used to make soap. My wife has made it. Uh, we have. I haven't used like store bought regular soap, and I can't remember how long. I mean, years and years and years and years. So I know all about handmade soap. This stuff, I don't know what she does. She has her own little recipe, and it's hot process, not cold process soap. So it's real lye soap, but it's very gentle and it smells great and it lathers amazing. And you know how it is when your friends make something, they're going to try to sell something. So that's what this happened because they're good, very good friends of ours. And so we're like, yeah, sure, we'll try it out. We'll try it out, you know. And I tried it out and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like really good, like high quality soap. It's, you know, probably the best handmade soap that I've ever used. So yeah, if you're interested in that, and it's not those little tiny bars, it's a big full size bar, and you're helping us, not us, but folks like us, a good family. So graftedandgracecreations.com. Looks like my wife left a link. Yeah, see, Lynn, she's saying she loves their soap. I know several of you have tried their soap, and it's pretty good stuff. I don't remember people ask all the time what kind of fragrance, which one that I get. I can't remember. I think it's on their website because you know we promote them. So I think like I don't even know. My wife and her put it all together. So I think it has lists of the ones that I use. It doesn't matter which ones I use. I like the shampoo bar. And I can't remember. There's a couple of fragrances I like for the regular bath bar thing. But I don't use regular shampoo anymore. That's what I use. So it's freezing in St. Charles, Missouri, and still snowing. You know, we avoided the ice here. It just um, it was just one of those things. And this area is, if any of you have lived here before or been through here, this area is very, very prone to ice. And that was what most everyone around here was really worried about was the ice. And so the temperature started changing Friday, and it happened because it had been raining, and then it switched over to snow. But it just happened that by the time I don't know. It didn't freeze. There wasn't any ice on the roads, and then now the temperature's so cold with all this new stuff coming down. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get any ice. You know, it's just too cold now, and it's just going to be some really dry snow, which is not hard at all to drive around on. Even if it was deeper, it's not that bad. So at least we avoided the ice. Let's see. Let me look at the chat again. 22, negative 22 last night in Idaho, Lake Fort, Idaho. Thank you, Nika Prox. Blessings to you also. Time for butter cookies. Don't stop that. That'll you'll get me. That's I like those. You know, my wife and I think one of the kids, they're always helping bake, and they baked these. Well, they were supposed to be kind of muffins, but they kind of turned out more like a brownie. But they're a chocolate peanut butter to kind of similar like a Reese's peanut butter cup, but it's all gluten free and it's sugar free. It uses, I think they used monk fruit in it. And I don't really like that kind of stuff. I'm not a muffin kind of person. I'm just not. And I was really surprised at how good they were. So they baked some yesterday, and I was like, wow, that's oh, used pecan flour. My wife is in the chat. They used pecan flour, and I was really blown away by how good it really tasted, like you were eating a Reese's peanut butter cup, and it even had a similar texture. It was really good. This too shall pass. Summer is coming. Yeah, that's right. I was thinking just a couple of weeks ago, because it was so mild here temperature wise, that if we didn't get a really cold snap, that it was gonna be miserable come spring and summer with bugs and stuff, which it is anyways. But so we're getting that cold snap, which is good. And according to the local weather guy, that this weekend is going to be rough, and then we warm up just a tad Wednesday and Thursday, and then next weekend it's going to get cold again. And then after that, he believes that we're done with most of the really, really cold weather. I mean, it'll just go back to being a normal winter here, where it's a little below freezing at night and in the 40s during the day, probably low 40s. But yeah, so there's that. Everyone's asking for the recipe. My wife can probably post it. She can post it on Locals for sure. If you folks are part of Locals, that's the preparedhomestead.locals.com. She'll post it over there. And I will have her post it just to be nice. So we can post things that are public views, and we can post things that you have to be a paid member. So if my wife is listening and you post it as for the public. So you don't have to pay. You do have to sign up. You have to sign up for Locals. And you all should do that, because you can sign up for free and you get to see a certain part of it. There's a lot of people on there that, because they have their own chats, kind of like a Facebook group where people can post things and stuff. All that you don't have to pay to see. The only thing that you have to pay to see is some of the content that I put up over there. But you can just sign up, get you an account, and see that. A lot of stuff for free. We don't call yummy food pecan. Oh, that's my wife. 40s is still cold. Well, for you, Josh, it is. It is. But, for us fat dudes like me, I can handle it a little bit. But 40s is way better than -10. If that was my choices, I would choose 40s. But yeah. So you guys been paying attention to anything going on in the world? There was a couple of things that I was going to talk about, and now I can't even remember what they were. I'm good at that, I'm telling you. It's like the old age is starting to creep in. I can't remember what I was going to talk about. Let me see if I can find it. I thought I put it somewhere. Give me just a second. A federal judge rules that ban on firearms, carrying firearms into post offices, are unconstitutional. Came out today. Now that's in a district, so I don't know that applies to it was in Florida, so I don't know that applies to the whole country. But yeah, he ruled that the ban on firearms in federal post offices are unconstitutional. North Korea has halted its radio broadcasts in exchanges with the South. So North and South Korea, they're cutting ties. I think a lot of what I was going to say is, have you seen more and more stuff at the border? I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening at the border, and it's crazy. Let's see over here on Rumble. We got Willis, Texas on Rumble, and Tennessee on Rumble. I keep forgetting to look over here. I apologize to you, Rumble people. Enjoy California weather while you can. Will be warmer probably by the time you get back to southern Missouri. Oh, so someone, I guess, went to California, huh? Texas National Guard is kicking the feds off of state property. Yeah, so that's what's going on in Texas. And in fact, today there was some video released where the Texas National Guard were had like riot shields, and they were trying to stop people like physically, because that's one thing that we really haven't seen a whole lot, where they're physically trying to stop people from coming across the border. And they were doing that, and they were pulling, people that were trying to get through there, throwing them on the ground, putting them into custody and stuff. So things are heating up down there. Basically, the Texas National Guard told the Border Patrol that they can't, if it's state property, state land, to get off of it. So they've banned the Border Patrol from it, and the Texas State National Guard is controlling it. So, yeah, it's getting heated up down there. So who was that? Yeah, little bitty drunk monkey says Texas is a dollar short and a day late. I actually agree with you on that, very much so. So yeah, someone. Oh, here it is. Country Humans says Biden says he won't support Taiwan's independence. Yes, but they have also gone back and forth, the Biden administration, on this bet that they'll do something like send Nancy Pelosi over there and sell them weapons or give them weapons, and at the same time they'll say, "Oh no, we support the one China policy." So I did see that, but I'm not really convinced that that's the case. But we'll see, we'll see. China says that this is the year that they will reunify. And Taiwan just had an election, and the person that won the election is pro-independent. So we'll see how that all works out for Taiwan. It could be. I think I saw something that it would cost that what was it, like $10 trillion or 100 billion? It was a massive number that if China and Taiwan go to war, what it would cost the planet. It would cost everyone, not just because that they're sending stuff over there to fight the war, but because Taiwan controls such a massive amount of the microchip production on the whole planet. And so it was this massive, massive number. I think it was $10 trillion, which according to the the U.S. debt is just chump change anymore. That's just chump change. But that it would cost a massive amount, and it could easily spark 10 trillion World War III, which I think most of us already assume has already started. It's already been going for a while. It's just kind of like inflation, or it's kind of like the recession and depression. They're not admitting that it happens. As long as they can deny it, then they can say, "Oh, it hasn't happened yet." So it's kind of like winning the election. Oh, as long as we can claim we did it, then yeah, I guess we won. Yeah, the Taiwan's DPP, the Democratic Progressive Party. Thank you, Bill, over in the Rumble chat. Journey Samaritan says over in Rumble, I purchased the Baofeng UVR based on your recommendations. Excited learning my way around it, listening in from New Jersey. Baofengs are great. They're great. And for those of you that don't use them, don't jump on me yet. Let me finish. Baofengs are great entry radios. They're great spare radios. They're great to have if that's all you can afford, because they are cheap. They're not the best quality radio. Okay. They're just not, because they're cheaper, but for what you're paying, you're getting a pretty good radio. If you took a high quality, expensive Yaesu radio, which is a Japanese brand, and I think it's Japanese. Anyways, you'd pay $300 for that. Well, for the Baofeng, you can buy about 15 Baofengs for $300. And the question is, will those 15 Baofengs outlast the one Yaesu? Maybe, maybe not, but you have 15 Baofengs. Okay. And you can, I occasionally you still see them on sale, but they used to be on sale often. And I would buy 4 or 5 of them when they were really cheap, like $15, $18 a piece. And I program them, charge them, and put them away. And the idea is if things fall apart, I can go to my neighbors, people in our tribe that maybe don't have a radio, which they should. Or if they just, we lose one, we can say, here, Here's a radio so we can all communicate. And so and the thing is, if you look around on Amazon, you can still usually get them for around $20, $23, $18 in that price range. Um, most everyone can afford that, at least to have a couple of radios. And there's several videos on the interwebs now that will teach you how to use one. Now, of course, you're technically supposed to have a FCC license, but you know, you can still listen to it. And if it's to save your life in an emergency, then FCC says you can actually use them uh, for that emergency only. So yeah, radios are super important. I'm sitting here now, and I've got 2 or 3 right here on the desk with me. I got a cheapy cheap Baofeng, and I've also got a more expensive ICOM, and probably something else sitting around here. There's just radios everywhere. But yeah, you should have. What do I think about digital radios? Um, I think digital radios right now are good to have and good to use because there's so many more options with them. I'm not so sure that I think that they're great for when it all hits the fan because there's possibilities in certain scenarios that they may not be that great. Um, I think you should diversify. Like if you're using digital radios now, you should probably at least have some non-digital radios stuck away, buried, something like that, just in case. But I think digital radios are good because you can do a whole lot with them. You know, eh, especially if you know a little bit about radios and know how to program them. It may not be technically legal, but there are some digital radios that you can program them, kind of hack them and program them to broadcast and receive on many, 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 many different frequencies, a big wide spectrum of frequencies. So, um, yeah. Would you suggest yeah, someone asked, Joseph Bass asked if I would suggest a community radio hub shack. Absolutely. If you have a tribe, community, whatever going on, you um, should have a kind of a dispatch area for your group, someone's property, preferably someone that has some elevation and some good line of sight in the area. You can even put up a small repeater. Repeaters are getting cheaper and cheaper to put up. And a GMRS repeater, you don't have to have any special licensing for the repeater itself. And you can, depending on the height, that's a big deal because the height of the antenna and then the length of the cable to get to that height is going to have a big say in it. But, in theory, you could put up a repeater for $500 to $1,000. And if you did that, your group is going to dramatically expand its ability to communicate with each other. So, yeah, everyone should have radios in your group. Everyone should have, handheld radios, little walkie talkies. Everyone should have a mobile radio in their vehicle and then probably a radio in their home. But it's good to also have kind of a central area within your tribe, your community, that's kind of the Radio Shack, the dispatch area, someone that's maybe the more experienced person in radios. And if everyone kind of contributes and says, yeah, we'll pitch in and we'll, put up a tower and we'll make it, extra good here. That's also, a lot of prepper groups, unfortunately, shun people that aren't the most physically capable. I hear that a lot. They're looking for just physically capable people. They're looking for everyone to be, GI Joes, super high speed combat related capabilities, and that's important. But it's not the only thing that's important. Um, someone that is not physically able to go out there and ruck 10, 15, 20K and do all that kind of stuff, but is really, really good with radios and communications, then they can be your radio guy. And if they're sitting back in their, little shack while you're out running around doing things and they're handling radio calls, that's very important. If someone is not physically capable of doing other things, but yet they can garden or they can take care of the children and teach them and help with things around that's important too. Remember, a community. This is, Rumble is saying that they can't see me, that the stream was lost. So hopefully it picks back up. Um, if anyone has any problems over on YouTube, let me know. But anyways, but remember that there's a very different thing of what this modern prepper, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call it, but that's spun off of YouTube, right? You're sitting here watching YouTube. How many preppers and how big it's gotten just because of YouTube. So, anyways, there's a very big difference between what has become the popularized modern prepper unit, prepper mag community, whatever, versus what history has shown has been successful communities. History has shown that successful communities have to have a good diversity of skills and diversity of people. And no, I'm not talking about liberals and conservatives and Marxists. And no, I'm talking about, you know, an older couple that may not be physically able to do a lot of, physical labor, but they have a lot of knowledge and wisdom they can pass on to the children. Or the women that may not be able to do the high speed shooting stuff, but they can clean the clothes and cook the food and preserve the food and all that. It takes a good variety. And so this mentality that I only want to affiliate in my community with Arnold Schwarzenegger Rambos and stuff like that, those kind of communities aren't going to survive. They may be able to shoot their way out of a fight, but if they don't know how to keep the community going, whether it's producing food and repairing things and just passing on wisdom and all that kind of stuff, they're not going to survive. You need the whole community. You need a good, well balanced community, and it has to be very family focused, I believe, at its core, because at its core, at the core of everything, next to our personal individual relationship with the Father, after that it's the family. I believe that's been made very clear in Scripture, that it's the family is the most important. And so we have to remember that. And in a lot of these prepper groups, that I've heard so many of them, that you can't bring your children, it's not family friendly, only the men can come and things like that. I don't personally agree with that, and I would encourage you, if you are starting any kind of prepper group, to not do that, because my personal experience is it's not going to last. It's not. So it's got to be family focused. Losing a Baofeng is like losing your high point. Yeah, exactly. And that's why, and they're like a high point in the fact that they actually work pretty well. About the worst part about a Baofeng is most of them, the cheap ones, aren't waterproof. But they do make one. It's basically it's the UV5R, but it's in a waterproof case, that the shell of it, the body of it's waterproof. And so that's what I've been using, and I enjoy that. And it's waterproof. But if you drop it and break it, you're not gonna cry over it, because you got 10 more or 5 more in your in your closet or whatever. Let's see what else. Hello from Vermont. Welcome from up there in the cold Northeast, I'm sure. Let's see. Amen to family mags. Miss seeing Rivka. Baofangs don't make as good a hammer as a high point. That's probably true. Um, you know, high points are probably one of the ugliest, guns in some ways. Um, but yet they work amazing. The thing is a lot of people talk trash about high points. I kind of like them. The only thing that I don't like about a high point is it's not double stacked. If it was double stacked, I'd have a few more of them. I would. I'd have a few, because they're cheap and they do work really well. They're not super slick. They're not super pretty. They're not super high speed, but they work really well. My big thing that I wish they would change is make them double stack. If they made a high point double stack, and it was exactly the way it is now, but double stacked, I bet they would give a lot of companies a run for their money. That's just my opinion. The YC9 is a double stack. I did not know that. Yeah, that's true. Savage Hunter says you don't need high points for the low pricing now because PSA has the dagger. I have not shot the dagger. I would like to get one, and I have been thinking about getting one, but haven't. But I've heard good stuff about them, and I would definitely like to shoot one. So, high point carbines are interesting. Yeah, they're actually really good. They actually do a really good job if you're wanting a pistol caliber carbine. I did see that Luke was in the chat, and it looks like Moose Run is in the chat. So, oh, there he is, Moose Run, another good friend of ours that has a little family business. If you're looking for coffee, really, really good home roasted coffee, all organic, go to mooseruncoffee.com. He does a lot of good, generous, charitable things where he'll often, I don't think he's doing it right now, but oftentimes he will donate a certain portion of the sales to Caleb House and Grindstone Ministries, all kind of the same thing. So most of you know what that is. But so yeah, supporting Moose Run Coffee's a really good deal. They fixed the mag issue in the PSA dagger, so they're basically just like a Glock. I did hear that they had done that. That there was a mag issue and that it has been fixed. I've shot other PSA stuff, and I really have no complaints, none whatsoever. And if you bought a completely, complete PSA, or if you built a PSA, and I'm speaking of an AR-15, about the only thing that I would really, really recommend swapping out is probably the bolt carrier group. Now, the bolt carrier group on the PSA is good enough, but it's probably not going to last as long. But as far as like their barrels and frames and everything, they've done great. And I'm not gentle with my rifles. I don't abuse them, but I'm purposely not gentle with my battle rifles because I want to see if they can fail. I want to, when I'm just carrying them around the property or I'm doing things with them, I'm treating them much in the same way as how they would be treated if you was in active combat, which means you don't have the time and to make sure that everything is perfectly clean and is taken care of. And I've never had a real problem with any, with PSA, anything that I've shot from them. But upgrading the bolt carrier group would probably be the first thing that I would do, because having a good, real high quality one is a good thing. Cronum and Rumble says, I don't understand why High Point doesn't work on the look of their pistols. I've thought that too, but I've heard because that's one of the reasons why they're so cheap. They've made the same style of pistol for like 30, 40 years now, and that, it makes things really cheap. So, yeah, mentions frequently test your gear. Yes, absolutely. Take your gear out, let it get dirty. Don't be gentle with it. Throw it around in the truck, the pickup bed, that kind of thing. Not to abuse it, but to make sure that it works good. Get it out when it's cold. Tomorrow it's going to be really cold. Get some of your gear out. How well does it handle in cold weather? I know that this is going to go against most everything that you have heard in the last few days if you're in an area that's experiencing very cold temperatures. But I don't agree with this thing of, oh, it's cold, you just should stay inside. Don't go outside at all. No, I think you should go outside. I think you should use common sense and not stay out to where you're potentially causing bodily harm to you. I mean, that should be common sense, right? So you're probably not going to stay out as long, but I think you should be outside often. I think being outside is very, very healthy for you. But it also helps build your endurance of being outside, whether it's cold or hot or humid or bugs or whatever it is. Because someday when we have to really survive, we may have to spend outside time outside a lot. And if something bad happens and it's 5 below 0 and you're not prepared and you don't know if your gear can handle it, then you're very, very unprepared. So, I would encourage you tomorrow, if it's really, really cold where you're at and there's all these kinds of warnings from the weatherman, like, "Oh, stay inside, don't go outside, you could freeze to death," go outside. Yeah, put some stuff on, put some wool socks on. Don't the cotton kills. So as much as I like natural fibers, you don't want cotton next to you on your skin. Wool is the best. But if all you have is a polyester type of long underwear, then that works too, or nylon or something like that. Um, and get outside. Don't do something stupid to where you injure yourself because it's so cold, but get outside, wear layers, and spend some time outside and get some of your gear out. Pull your rifle out, let it sit out there and get super cold, and then run a mag through it and see how it works. You might break it, but you know what? It's better to break it now and figure it out than to break it when there's a bunch of people coming up your driveway ready to, take care of you and your family in a very bad way. So I'd rather break my rifle now. Um, and yeah, Grandma Ginger says it's almost impossible to stay inside and run a homestead. That's the thing. I think that's one of the biggest. I don't know if the right word is psyop, but hey, we like that word, so let's use it. I think it's one of the biggest psyops that has been played on the American people for the last 2 or 3 generations is stay inside. Don't go out in nature. Don't get in the sun. Don't get a suntan, slather junk and chemicals all over your skin. Don't, breathe the air. It's dangerous out there. Put a mask on. Don't go in the creek. There's some kind of brain even eating amoeba. Don't get dirty. Don't let your kids get dirty. Don't go out in the cold. You could freeze to death. Don't go out in the heat. You could die of, heat exhaustion. That's ridiculous. Our ancestors, and I'm not talking millennia ago, I'm talking a few generations ago, lived the vast majority of their lives outside, most all the time. And there is an ample amount of evidence that shows that sunlight may be, in fact, the absolute healthiest thing you can do, even more so than your diet. Just getting really, really good amounts of sunlight, that your body, it causes your body to process things and certain chemicals, and I don't understand it all. You'd have to listen to my wife. She can tell you all of that kind of stuff. But the fact is, the sunlight is good for you, and fresh air is good for you, and the cold is good for you, and sweating in the heat is good for you. So, yeah, you need to get out and spend some time outside and pull your gear out and try your gear out. If you bought these winter cold weather boots and you take them out in this cold and your feet are frozen blocks of ice, then maybe they don't work as well as you thought they would. And it's better to find that out now than when you are, outside to save your life or to your family's life or running for your life. And that's the only boots you have. And then they don't work. So, yeah, get out there and do that. I would encourage you. 11, negative 11 in southeast Nebraska feels like negative 30. Hi from Ireland. Hey, welcome from the other side of the pond. 45 in New Orleans. Well, it's like 13 or 12 or something here. So, it'd be nice to have 45 here, but that's not happening. Go camping for a weekend to get outside. Absolutely. Yeah, get out there and spend some time outside. We need to be doing that. As homesteaders, like Grandma Ginger said, you need to be outside anyways to do a homestead. You can't run a homestead and be stuck indoors all the time. But yes, we need to be getting outside more. Steel toe boots are not for cold weather. Thank you. Yes, that is correct. You'll freeze your toes off in this weather with steel-toed boots. The steel just zaps the heat right out of your toes. So don't do that. We should have never let it go past Atari. That's correct. If we just stopped at Atari with all this technology, maybe we could have saved our society. But now it's Yeah, Noah says he works construction, so you're probably outside a lot, and I know you get it, but you also understand, I'm sure, that so many people, they're just not outside. They're not out. They're in a controlled environment their whole life. You know, they live all their life in a house that's controlled, and then they get in their car that the environment's controlled, and they go to their office and the environment's controlled, and they hardly get outside at all. Um, Cronum says that they take a lot of vitamin D3 every day. Um, and then Darren says ice fishing boots. Ice fishing boots. They're not here with me, and I'm not wearing them right now, but I have some of those they're old ones. They're from, I mean, they're not ancient old. They're probably from the late 70s, early 80s, but they're in really good shape. But they're those, they call them like duck boots, you know, like the rubber bottoms, and they've got a wool liner in them it's close to an inch thick, this wool liner. And man, I put those things on when it's this kind of cold. Feet are fine. They are fine. They're not the easiest thing to do a lot of walking in because they're really thick and heavy and bulky, but you can get around in them and you will be fine. Your feet will do fine, especially if you've got some good wool socks. Negative 55 in North Dakota, the wind chill. Goodness. I've been up there when it was negative 55, negative 60 wind chill, and it blows so bad up there already anyways, because there's no trees, there's no hills, it's just as flat as a table. And then when it gets, yeah, they're kind of like Mickey Mouse boots, but when it gets really cold up in North Dakota and South, it's awful, 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 awful. But it's kind of cool up there too. I like North Dakota. I've been there many times and actually enjoyed every time I went up there. The people up there were actually really nice. Those little tiny small towns, good people there. Let's see. Oh, Sean gave another $5 for the dog. Thank you. I'm going to buy him some treats. We'll go to the feed store and they have some dog treats, and we'll get him that. Thank you for that. Let's look over here. Backcountry packing is an excellent way to, yes. Bill and Rumble side of chat says backcountry backpacking is an excellent way to stay in shape and enjoy nature. Absolutely. Travis, you are a wimp weasel. Keep blowing. Oh, that's nice. Anyways, as a troll, it looks like in the YouTube chat. Big surprise. Yeah, I definitely advocate. I do a lot of rucking around here. You see it sometimes. I don't always make videos. Probably half or less of the times that I go rucking, that I make a video. And sometimes I do it by myself. A lot of times we do it as a community, as a group. And I think that is an excellent way. I mean, as far as like if you're trying to lose weight and stuff, rucking may not always be the very best way to like lose weight or to, build muscle tone, but it's good to build endurance. Endurance in an activity that you may have to do, um, if things fall apart. So I strongly encourage you to ruck. Don't overdo it at first. Start off with like a 20, 25 pound pack that's not very heavy. Try 2 or 3 miles if you've not done it before or haven't in a long time, and then build up from there. If you can get to where you're rucking with the, 50-pound pack for 5 to 10 miles at a pretty deep, and not be dead when you're done, you're doing good. I mean, you're not like maybe Army Ranger good, but you're doing pretty good. I just saw Jason in the chat. Thank you so much, brother. You are amazing. Yeah, Jason he's very in shape kind of guy. And yeah, he loves getting lots of sun is what he says. Never get a burn and it makes you feel amazing. It just feels healthy. Exactly. Um, I agree with that. Now I can't, and I'm going to have to be careful what I say because it's YouTube, but thank you so much, Jason. I had read, and I could be completely wrong. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But there has been almost no, according to what I had read, examples in history starting about from the 1880s going back of any type of skin cancers. Like it was extremely, extremely rare. They can only find like just a few references to something that either is called that or is similar, sounds like that. That there just wasn't, and there wasn't those kind of problems. So I don't think personally it's necessarily the sun that's causing a lot of people's problems. I think it's your diet, it's the things you put on in your body and on your body. um, and yeah, don't go out in the sun and burn yourself to a crisp to where you're, you have a skin injury and you look like a lobster. I'm not saying that. I'm saying get outside and and spend some time in the sun. And if you want a little bit, maybe you're really, really fair complected and you're worried about it. I'll tell you, coconut oil is natural and it has a natural SPF of like, I think 3. So it's very light, but it will, protect you for a while. So, um, I would definitely you just need to get out. Need to get out. I'm telling you, from a spiritual perspective, um, I have always felt that I could connect so much better with the Creator, with God the Father, when I'm outside. I go off in the woods. I can sit and think, and even if it's not a traditional prayer, if it's just thinking and pondering and talking to myself, talking to the Father, there's so much better connection, I believe. And I think it's because we're in a natural state. We're not being distracted by man-made stuff. That's just my opinion. And then if you look in scripture, virtually every patriarch, every prophet, every person of any prominence that's spoken of, if it's talked about them going and making a connection with God the Father, almost every time they go into the wilderness. I mean, even Yeshua did that. They all go into the wilderness. They don't go in the center city. You don't hear about them going into the center city to make a connection. They go out into the woods. They go out in the country. Well, it looks like Alex Jones is in the chat. It's amazing. I didn't even know Alex Jones was on YouTube anymore. But yeah, Alex Jones is in the chat. Welcome. I mean, we're impressed. Yeah, rucking is a really good activity for your group. If you have some kind of group, your bandwidth is better outside. I like that. Yes. Nature is my church. Mountains are church. Yeah. Is it true about the frogs, Alex? Let's not pick on him too much. But yeah. Wow, the chat's moving so quick I can't keep up. I'm trying to read stuff. They're turning all the frogs gay, someone says. Oh, can we hear more about Iron Survival? Yes, Iron Survival. They have a class, Iron Survival. Let me pull it up here. And then I'll tell you about it. So give me just a second. Try to find it on my phone. This is going to be for local people, unless you just want to drive the distance. There it is. So, where is it? So February 10th and 11th, Iron Survival is doing a map and land navigation course training event. So if you don't know what Iron Survival, you can go to ironsurvival.com. But Iron Survival is a training company. They'll train you how to do self-defense, combat, physical stuff like this, like map and compass, orienteering, that kind of stuff. And they have online classes and they have in-person classes. And it's very good quality stuff. And the price is, I mean, it's almost free. It's so cheap. Most of their online classes are like $45 for that class. And it's not just watching a YouTube video. It's got curriculum and everything. You take the class online and you have access to that material for a year when you buy it. And then they also have, and it's in Missouri, it's here in Southwest Missouri. But you can go there and they talk about their in-person training. And so they do in-person training once or twice a month. And again, it's pretty cheap too. It's not expensive. Most of the time, it's under $100. So in-person training. This guy that's runs it, he's ex special operations. He's ex law enforcement. He has done a lot of high speed stuff in military and law enforcement. So he knows his stuff. He's really really good. Um, and yeah, if you're interested, right now with all this stuff going on, World War III kind of things, I would strongly and strongly encourage you, if you've not had tactical type training, if you don't feel comfortable with defending your home, defending your property, if there's someone in your home, I know right now, like if you came home from work, right? And your wife and children are in the house and you think that there's an intruder in there with them, most people would call 911. You might attempt to go in, but if you don't have the proper training, you may end up just making things substantially worse. Or it doesn't even have to be your wife and children in there. Just if there's a prowler inside your home, you guys come home from somewhere and there's someone in your home, and now we call 911, but someday 911 may not be available. And so you need to know how to handle things yourself. And you can do that. And like I said, it's online and in person. You can do both or one or the other. So right now with everything going on, I would certainly encourage that a lot. Yeah, they're trying to outlaw training. I saw that some of the Democrats are trying to outlaw basically militias. They're calling it paramilitary groups, but if you read it, and it's very very vague, very vague. So me and my guys, if we go rucking with our chest rigs and stuff like that on, according to this law that they're trying to pass, which probably won't pass, but you never know. Yeah, we could be breaking law just by walking through the woods with backpacks on. It's a very vague law, and they're trying to outlaw any type of militia. Now, I know what everyone's going to say. Well, the Second Amendment protects that. Folks, as much as I love the Second Amendment and think it's a great piece of document, we have to understand that the people that are in charge, for the most part, couldn't care less what that piece of document says, and they're going to trample on it every chance they get. So I would not put a lot of faith in the fact that the Second Amendment says you can't outlaw militias, because there's certainly a lot of bills and a lot of laws out there that are unconstitutional, and yet they happen all the time. They get enforced all the time. So anyways, D. Hunter says that he's on the volunteer fire department since 1985 and took the EMR training. That's good. We're getting ready to, our organization is going to start being able to give certified EMR training, which is emergency medical responder. So we'll be doing that because we have our own emergency response team, our local community. We've put that together, and now we are officially working with the local fire department. We are an official auxiliary of them. And so we have been doing a lot of training in search and rescue, emergency medical response, and disaster preparedness, and things like that. I talk about a lot more on locals. If you want to hear more of the details, you need to go to locals, because I give a lot more information over there. And we believe that as a community, we are stronger as a community and as individuals if we learn how to do this kind of stuff. And then we also are giving back to our community, because we live in a very rural area that doesn't have a lot of emergency services. There just isn't. And so we are volunteering to our county, and they've accepted, and we're working with them now. And we are, we're doing that. We're out there training with them and helping the community if they needed our services. So I think something like that's really good to give back. And then we're actually making our community more prepared. We're using it also as an outreach. The county, the officials, the government officials that we have, local government that we've talked to and worked with, they are very, very much in favor of preparedness. In fact, one of them comes to our meetings all the time, is participating. And so they're very excited, and not just with that we're helping with like the emergency medical and search and rescue stuff, but then also to encourage people in the community to be more prepared. So, but yeah, we've been several of us have gone and gotten search and rescue certified, and we're working on certifications for our actual organization. We are a American Red Cross provider now of training, all that kind of stuff. We're working on getting our at least one person, and then as a group, we will be an NRA training provider. So, and I know a lot of you probably are thinking, oh, those are big, you know, government like NGO type organizations. I get it too. I think that same thing. But to sometimes to reach the outer community and stuff, if we say, hey, listen, we've gotten these certifications, we kind of know what we're talking about. Oh, okay, now we'll listen to you. And we're still saying the same message as before. So, anyways. So keep a map. Yes. Um, Moose Run. Someone asked, Moose Run's a coffee place. Go to mooseruncoffee.com. So, anyways, I think I'm going to get off of here. I think Pinball Preparedness has either started his live or will start it soon, and I don't like overlapping him too much. Some of you, I know not all, but some of you watch him, so I try not to, be competitive with other prepper type channels. So, yes, if you want to come to our meeting, our local group, we have a monthly meeting that is open to the public. So any of you that want to come to our public monthly meeting, it is the 28th of this month. Let me look on my phone. The 28th. Yes, the 28th of this month, which is the last Sunday. If you want to know details, you can email me at preparedhomestead@protonmail.com. But basically the meeting starts at 2. We open the doors at 11, and that 11 to 2 is just a mingling time. People, families come. It's a big, big building, and people talk and get to know each other. And then we have a little meeting, like a special speaker or something like that. And then that's it. But it's mostly, it's just a great way to come and to get to know each other. And this particular meeting, because it's the first meeting of the year, we'll be talking about a lot of really exciting stuff that we're doing, including this emergency response team. So if you can make it, definitely try to come to our meeting on the 28th. You'll love it. Everyone loves coming to these meetings. So anyways, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to see what the temperature's like outside. It's the computer's showing 12 degrees. I'm sure that's probably close to being accurate. Folks, thank you tonight. You're all awesome. Jason Casper, thank you. Go to Jason Casper's YouTube channel if you want information about preparedness, homesteading, and then also like day trading and cryptocurrency. The guy is kind of a guru when it comes to that. So Jason Casper's YouTube channel is where to go. All right, folks, you are amazing. Thank you so much for all that you do and for encouraging and supporting and really being friends with many of you. It's been a blessing to all of us. Yes, my wife just put my email in there, preparedhomestead@protonmail.com. So if you want to come to the meeting and you don't know where it's at, shoot me an email and I'll respond to you. All right, folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Good night. Do, do, do.